Hi, I'm Noelle.
And I'm Marissa, but Noelle calls me Pete. And welcome back to Take It Home,
Christmas edition.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
The joy that he brings,
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Dun, 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 dun. Merry Christmas, you guys.
Merry.
Or happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. But this episode is coming out on Christmas Day.
And the two of us celebrate Christmas.
We do.
We do.
So
but I hope you guys enjoy celebrating your holiday that you celebrate, if you celebrate one.
yes.
But either way, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I do believe this episode could be good for anybody to listen to.
Agreed.
It's not just about Christmas. We're going to be talking about kindness and random acts of kindness.
Yeah, just spreading some holiday cheer, positivity, love. And yeah.
But before we get into all of that, we got to do our first little segments.
And what is our first segment?
Sip of the week.
Sip of the week.
Okay. Our sip of the week,
Along with a story, probably.
is, yes, we have to talk about it. Our sip of the week this week is eggnog.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete and I had the weirdest time ever making eggnog, but we did not make it. We bought a carton of eggnog. All we really had to do was pour it into the cup. But for some reason, we both kind of realized we don't know anything about eggnog or like how to drink it, like what to do. So we were like, okay, sip of the week this week will be eggnog with some whipped cream on top. Slay. So we're getting the drink set up and we're like, okay, what do we need to do for the eggnog? Like, I think you were like, let's heat it up.
I was like, I guess we can start heating up the eggnog.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, how do you heat it up? Heat it up. And I was like, I guess like on the stove.
Yes.
So there's like music happening outside. So you start heating it up on the stove.
Yes.
And it's heating and we're going about our, oh my God, music.
Do we need to like pause a sec?
Yeah. It's a parade. It's a fucking parade.
It's always a parade out here.
Okay. Anyway, you're heating it up on the stove. I'm like getting ready and I come back and I'm like, okay, are we ready to film? And you're like, yeah, the eggnog is like still pretty cold in the pot.
Well, but even before that, I went to the bathroom and I started Googling on my phone. I was like, do you drink eggnog hot or cold?
You were like, hey, have you ever drank eggnog cold? And I was like, yeah, actually, like I've had spiked eggnog once and it was cold. I actually don't think I've ever drank it hot. I'm like, can you drink it hot?
And the internet said normally it's drunk. Normally you drink it.
Are we okay?
I don't know. Normally eggnog is consumed chilled, but you can have it warm. So I was just like, okay, like we'll have it warm. But then like when we were heating it up on the stove, yes. So then we get to the part where it's heating up and
you were like, it's still pretty cold. And I was like, okay, like I'll turn up the heat a bit so it gets warm. And then I was like, I kind of want it cold. And you were like, okay, yeah, let's do it cold. Like we both kind of wanted it cold, but weren't saying that. But I don't even know where the idea of hot eggnog came from.
I don't know either.
And so we were like, okay, cold. And I was like, we should put it in a wine glass.
And then we were like, wait.
And I'm like, wait,
do people do that?
Like, what kind of glass do you drink eggnog out of? So we were like looking up everything. Every time I asked a question, Noelle would look it up and be like, can you drink eggnog out of a wine glass? Like, obviously
and then it's
you can.
Yes,
it's like,
it is a great way to consume eggnog. So we get out the wine glasses and then we're like, wait, if we're having it chilled,
do we use ice?
And so I Google, do you drink eggnog with ice? And it's like, yes, a great way to keep eggnog chilled is to have it over ice. So we're like, okay. So we put it in wine glasses. We put it over ice. We are having it cold. And then we Googled, what did we Google after that?
Then I was like, we were putting our whipped cream on and I was like, okay, I have one more question. Like, do we use a straw or do we just sip it? And you're like, let me look it up. So you're like, can I drink eggnog with a straw? And I was like, yes, eggnog can be consumed with a straw. Or what did it say?
But then it said also a spoon is good for eggnog because sometimes you put whipped cream on top. So you have it with, I don't know. Point is, I'm realizing that neither of us know anything about eggnog.
And we
I
were
don't
so
think,
confused.
I'm like, I've had eggnog before. Why do I feel like I don't know, like what, I don't know what I'm doing. It's so simple yet so like I'm doing something wrong.
I know. And it was the easiest drink, but for some reason our brains were gone. We couldn't make any decisions for ourselves. Noelle did make some homemade quick cream. Hello?
Quick cream. I made
Whipped cream.
I'm scared of today. I did
My
make
brain isn't
homemade
working.
whipped cream. Pete was like, you should use the electric mixer. And I was like,
You're like, nope.
nope. So I hand mixed it. I kind of regretted it halfway through. I was like, I should have used the electric mixer because you have to whip for so long. But I put some cinnamon, some vanilla extract.
So good.
And actually, I put a little bit of salt in the whipped cream.
Yeah,
because
the balance of flavors.
Yeah. It brings out the flavor. And one more thing I have to say, we did not end up putting straws in, but when I went to Mexico City a few weeks ago, I did buy all of these cute little cocktail stirrers. They're handmade, hand blown glass. They're glass blown. I'm not okay today for some reason. Like, I don't know how to be a person. But I got 2 Christmas ones. So I got a little Christmas tree and a little Santa. So we put them in there.
Yeah. So if you're watching,
Should we try our eggnog
super
now?
cute. Yes. I'm excited.
Cheers. With eye contact. I keep wanting to suck the whipped cream like out of the cocktail stir, but
That's not a straw.
it's a stir. It's not a straw. But you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to suck it.
It feels kind of like a betrayal. It feels like a betrayal when you go to suck it and it's like, you can't.
This episode is weird.
I like eggnog.
I do too. Okay. Anyways, that's our sip of the week.
Okay.
This is chaotic.
It's really yummy.
It is. Yeah, I'm loving this eggnog.
It's really
Loving
a treat for sure.
I'm understanding it more.
It tastes like melted ice cream.
Yeah. It does.
All right. Well,
That's our sip of the week, y'all.
That's our
Merry
sip.
Christmas. Eggnog. Yay. Non-alcoholic eggnog, too.
Yeah.
Wait, but now I'm like, does all eggnog like have a little, like, does this have alcohol?
no,
in
it doesn't. It doesn't. No, eggnog does not have alcohol, but I think it's very popular to like have spiked eggnog. Like
Not
an
me, like,
eggnog.
not knowing if I'm drinking alcohol right now. I'm like,
It's not. It's literally, it was like out of a carton from like the dairy farm. It's not alcoholic, but
the dairy farm.
it's really good and it would be really good with alcohol if you wanted to do that. I just have to say, we did film a podcast episode last night where we had margaritas and I drank one margarita in a short little glass and I was hung over this morning.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like shit. And I knew I was going to be hungover because I kind of woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, oh, I don't feel right. Like, I don't feel good. And I, like, just wasn't getting good sleep. I kept waking up. And then I just had, like, a headache this morning. And then just the queasy, just disgusting hangover feeling. And it took me a few hours to, like, feel better. And I'm like, I had one little margarita sipping as we were filming the podcast and I felt like shit. I'm like,
We're getting old.
this is why I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I do drink, but you know, this is why I don't like drinking as much. Because why did that small amount of tequila make me feel disgusting?
It literally makes you feel bad. Yeah. Alcohol does that.
Horrible. Smile of the week.
Smile of the week, smile of the week. Smile of the week, smile of the week. Shall I go first?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Well, my smile. Okay.
Scared of you?
Okay, well, my smile is that I saw an amazing musical earlier this week.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Bo the Musical. Shout out to you guys. I didn't really know anything about it going into it because I unfortunately have not been seeing shows as much as I would like to because tickets to see shows are freaking expensive. And a girl's gotta pay her bills first. So I haven't seen a musical in a while, but one thing I'm very passionate about is like newer, riskier, original works. I feel like, you know, I've talked about this on the podcast, but I feel like so many musicals nowadays are jukebox musicals, which are amazing and fun and have their purpose. But I love a show with some original music. It was a beautiful story. It was awesome. I cried, I laughed, and I'm obsessed. Go see it, you guys. I think you have like 10 more days. I believe it closes January 4th. It was literally incredible. It was a story about a gay teenage boy kind of coming into his sexuality, but it literally takes place in a bar. So you're in a full service bar sitting there in Nashville.
That's so cool.
It was amazing. And everyone was so talented. They all played their own instruments. So like,
Love.
yeah, amazing. Go see Bo the Musical stat.
I love that. That's literally the type of theater that I want to be doing.
Me too.
Like just original work.
Yup.
That not just original work. Good original work. That's like
yeah.
just new stories and
It was just it was beautiful. I was like,
I love that.
low-key, sometimes musical theater makes me cringe, unfortunately, nowadays too, which is like, I say that being someone who is pursuing it, and so are you. But there are some times when I watch certain shows or hear certain songs or see things live, and I'm like, this is like cringy a little. I can't even think of a good example right now, but Bo was not cringy. When like shows that are very like heartwarming and emotional like that, sometimes I feel like if they're not done well, can just be cringy, but it was done so well. It was beautiful. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Loved Bo the Musical. Anyways,
Yay.
yeah, that was
Love
my Bo
that.
spiel. What was your smile?
My smile was I got happy hour with my friend this week. It worked out perfectly, Carly.
Oh, right.
Shout out Carly.
I was like, who?
I had a very long day, but I had like randomly 2 hours to kill in the middle of my day. And it just so happened to work out that I was kind of near where she lives and she was available. So we got a glass of wine and I hadn't seen her in forever. So that's partially my smile, but also more specifically, we were in this cute wine bar on the Upper West Side and in walks this, I don't even remember like seeing him come in, but all of a sudden this like, is it a dash hound? This dog appears.
Oh, adoption? Like the little one?
Wait, I'm going to show you the picture. I'm going to show you guys the picture too. Don't worry. I'm not good with dog breeds. What's this kind of dog?
I think a dachshund.
Okay.
The little ones that look like hot dogs.
Yeah, like a wiener dog in a coat with a fur hood, just sat. And we were sitting at the bar, like was sat next to us on a chair. And I had no idea where its owner was. Like the dog was just sitting there, but the dog was being treated like a regular because the bartender was like, "Oh, hi, this is Nathan." And we were like, "Oh, Nathan, this dog that's just sitting at the bar next to us."
The dog's name was Nathan?
Yeah, with its owner nowhere to be found.
That's so funny.
So I figured like the owner was in the bathroom or whatever, but it was a good while of this dog just sitting at the bar next to us. So I'm going to show the camera the picture if you're watching.
Wait, I love that. I love Nathan.
I hope it focuses. Oh, there you go. There's a little dog. And he was just like staring at us. And then the bartender gave Nathan this little plate with a cheese stick on it.
Stop.
Like a fresh piece of cheese, not like a mozzarella stick fried, but like, and like it was like their regular routine. And then the owners came back and were feeding it the cheese. And it was just really cute.
Did they just like leave the dog in there for a little bit?
Yeah, they left the dog at the bar and like they went to the bathroom.
That is
But like no
so
one
funny.
was with the dog. The dog was just sitting there and I was confused because I didn't see it all go down. So I just looked over and saw that there was a dog sitting there. And then the bartender was treating it like a regular and giving it its cheese. It's its usual, you know?
That's amazing.
No, it was very
Wait,
cute.
I love that. Shout out Nathan.
Shout out Nathan.
Nathan for you. Nathan Field. Please. Nathan Fielder.
Nathan Field.
Nathan Field. Nathan for you. Please come on our podcast.
Yes.
We really want to interview you.
Please. Yeah. So
That
good
was our
smiles.
smile of the week. Smile of the week.
Smile of the week, smile of the week. We hope you're all having a lovely Christmas. or holiday, whatever you're celebrating today. So today, we didn't want to be, super Christmas specific, but when we were brainstorming what we wanted our episode to be, we were like, we could kind of go one of two ways. And one of the ways was really leaning into like what is needed during the holiday season, like why, like what would I be excited to listen to during this time of year? And I feel like I do listen to some podcasts that are like story based, like Reddit stories. And I always love the like heartwarming ones of just, and it got me thinking about random acts of kindness and just spreading love in a world that feels so cold sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially during the winter and everyone's in their own little world. But every now and then you'll just have like an interaction with a stranger that is heartwarming. And then it makes you want to go out and pay it forward and all that stuff. So we're just going to be sharing a bunch of stories today, some of our own. Also, we went on Reddit and found some of the top stories of the year from the Random Acts of Kindness page. Ooh. So we're going to be sharing some like random strangers' stories from the internet that are inspiring. And then we also asked you guys if you had times where you felt like you received a random act of kindness or gave one. And so we're going to share those as well.
Yay! So get excited to hear some nice little positive, uplifting stories today.
I always feel like it's just inspiring to hear. It's like, oh, there's good in the world.
There is good in the world. It does not always feel that way.
It doesn't.
There is.
Yeah.
And we're going to share that with you now.
I feel like we should start with Reddit stories maybe.
Okay.
Because this is something we haven't done in the podcast, but
trying something new. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. It's fun. So I chose a few of the top ones that I'm going to read. Maybe we'll go back and forth, but like Noelle hasn't heard these, so we're going to get your blind reaction and then maybe vice versa. But okay, let me find it on my laptop real quick.
Also, one thing about me, I love creaminess. As in like I'm drinking this eggnog right now and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so creamy. And I just am so happy about it. I love it. I love whipped cream. I love butter. I love dairy.
Okay, so the first story I'm going to share was posted 1 year ago on the Random Acts of Kindness Reddit page. It's titled, "This was over 45 years ago, but it's still with me." I was fleeing my abusive husband. My son was just 2. I was 23, and we left without much money in my pocket. The rest was in our bus tickets. Halfway through the trip, North Carolina to Oregon, across the country, we stopped for a couple hours in Grand Junction, Colorado, at a tiny station with a tiny diner at night. I didn't have my glasses. My husband had destroyed them, so that meant going far into the restaurant to see the menu. I figured out what it said, counted what I had, and told my son I couldn't afford it, that I'd need to get him some crackers from the vending machine. Halfway toward the outer door, the owner's wife stopped me. I didn't speak Spanish and she didn't speak English, but everyone knows the hand sign for "come with me." She sat us at a table. I was confused and tried to explain. Her husband then set burgers and water in front of us. I was still trying to explain that I couldn't pay. He patted my shoulder. "Is good. You eat." He gestured to my son, me, and the burgers. "You eat." Of course, I cried. His wife also patted my shoulder and gave us a bunch of napkins. We ate what we could, and the owner boxed the rest up so we could take it with us. One of the kindest moments I have of the whole terrifying 4-day trip.
That's so sweet.
I know.
Oh, I love that.
And they don't even like speak the same language.
I know. That makes it extra special too. But they were still able to communicate.
Yeah. And probably one of the hardest moments for this person in their life.
Yeah.
At only 23, fleeing an abusive relationship.
Hard.
And that's the thing, like you just never know what someone's going through and what your kindness would mean to them. Yeah. So that's that story.
I love that story.
Should I do another one or do you want to do one?
Do another one.
Okay. Here's a Christmas themed one titled, "Think I Found My New Christmas Tradition Instead of Spending the Day Alone in My Apartment."
Okay.
Woke up today and didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I wasn't staying in the apartment miserable. I don't really have a family. My mother was abusive and I had to cut contact with that entire side of my family when I was 15 because they're all pretty narcissistic.
Ugh.
My father was an alcoholic and drank himself to death, and I never met anyone else on his side, as most of them were already dead by the time I met him. Decided to go for a drive and ended up 3 hours away. Along the way, I stopped at a gas station, picked up some coffee, got $10 cash back, and told the cashier to keep it. Merry Christmas. And then again and again, buying something random, getting $10 cash back, and giving it to the cashier. Ended up giving 5 people $10 this way. The thought being, I'd be working on Christmas if I could, because I don't have a family to spend it with anyway. These people who are working on Christmas most likely don't have family or have no choice but to work instead of spending time with their family. Every single one of them, you could tell it really made their day brighter. And it honestly made my day brighter, too. Just knowing I put a smile on someone's face. The last one really got me. You could hear it in her voice that she wasn't having a good day. Pretty sure I left her speechless. She just whispered, nice. I put a yearly reminder in my phone. I'm going to do this every year from now on. Nothing major, just $10. But none of these people were expecting it, which makes it all the more impactful. And the world really needs more kindness these days. And I genuinely hope when people see me doing this, it encourages them to do the same.
Yeah, that's really sweet. You never know what kind of day somebody's having. A random act of kindness can really, really help someone out and make their day. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I found another one. Okay, so here's another story on Reddit. So, I broke my ankle on Monday night. A fracture. Got lucky. Basically, that means I had a clean break and my ligaments and tendons were intact, but I still needed a cast and I can't walk. Where I live, the hospital doesn't send you home with pain meds or crutches, and since I live alone in a 3-story townhouse, it's been brutal. My kitchen is downstairs and I've had to crawl up and down my stairs for 3 days. I finally got some crutches, but I live on a steep hill covered in ice and snow, and downtown is 15 minutes away on a good day with 2 legs. So I asked my friend to grab me a pint of whiskey for the pain, and I'd pay, obviously. So he brought me a $7.50, a whole barbecue chicken, a box of fresh fried chicken, a tub of fresh mac and cheese, and didn't even want my money. I've only known this guy for a couple of months. I went over around New Year's, and he had an emotional moment because his wife died last year, and he hasn't had much support, and I was there for him. But that's just a thing you're supposed to do for others. I've been trapped at home without much of anything for days, and he came through randomly. I didn't even reach out. He did. He knew what happened, but I never asked him for anything, and he offered and came through. I hope someone reads this and realizes how impactful a random act of kindness can be for someone who needs it. I wanted to cry when he brought the food. He didn't care about money. He just wanted to make sure I was okay, and I barely knew the guy. Be like this guy. Very sweet.
That is sweet.
I'm going to read another one.
Yes, read another.
This one is... Someone titled it, I just did a good deed I have been waiting to do for years. This happened about an hour ago. As a person who used to rely on the city bus to get around while I was in school and for a bit after, I know the frustration of just missing the bus, especially after you run for it and the driver probably sees you running but drives off nonetheless. I get it. They have a schedule to keep. So for years, I have resolved that if I ever see that happen, I'm going to pick the person up and drive them past the bus and let them off at the next stop. Most times I'm driving, my wife and dog are in the car, so it's sort of a no-go. But when I'm driving by myself, I am usually on the lookout for this. LOL. Today I got up to make some spicy red pasta sauce and realized I needed one more ingredient, so I drove over to the neighborhood Publix. As I'm leaving the parking lot to come back home, I see a guy running through the crosswalk waving. I'm thinking about pasta sauce at this point, but I look to my right and there's a city bus driving away and this man waving his arms. The bus line is sort of going my way, though I usually cut through the neighborhood next to ours to avoid the traffic on the boulevard. And my inner voice was like, you've been preparing for this moment for years. So I do a right on red, pull up next to the bus stop, roll down the window and say, get in, fella. We'll catch up with him. And the guy starts laughing and says, seriously? And I say, yeah, come on. He hops in still laughing. He's super upbeat. He's maybe a 60 to 65-year-old with a slight Haitian accent. So I figure he's probably been in this area for a while before it started gentrifying. So it felt really great to do something nice like this. It took about 15 blocks to get him in front of the bus and drop him at a stop. And we really just laughed the whole way. I shook his hand and told him Happy New Year, and that was that. It has probably been close to a decade I've had this good deed on my mind, so 2025 is already off to a great start. So I guess this is earlier this year.
That's so funny. I love that this person had it in their minds and were like looking out for that.
I love that too.
That's so
Aw,
funny.
I love that.
And it took them a decade to like come across
That's kind
a
of
situation
crazy.
like that. I know. That is the worst though, when you're about to get on the bus and they
And it
drive away.
it is the worst.
Okay. This one's endearing. This one's titled "My Tall Husband Helping Short Woman with Items on Top Shelf at Store and her helping him back."
Okay.
Was at Walmart earlier today with my extremely tall husband. We walked down an aisle and noticed a very short woman trying to get something off the top shelf. She was our granddaughter's age and seemed embarrassed to need help. Glad to help, and obviously he got it for her. She spoke a language we don't, so it was a cute interaction of pointing and stuff and head nodding. A little later, we were on another row and my husband reached to get something from the bottom row, knees creaking in the process. The same woman was going down the row we were on. She came up behind him and gestured to the bottom row. Yep, repeat reverse interaction of head nodding and pointing. The look of satisfaction on her face was beautiful. Honestly, it looked like she realized her value and not to sell herself short. Not a deliberate pun. She brought out the happy grandparents in us. I love kind people in this world.
That's so sweet.
Isn't that one cute?
Oh, that's really cute, actually.
Like, he couldn't reach, or she couldn't reach the top, and
he
he
couldn't
get
to the
to the bottom. And they helped each other. This one is titled, "A woman bought me a water to make a bottle and held my baby while I actually made it." Yesterday, I went sledding with some friends and family at a golf course that had a restaurant bar inside. My daughter is 6 months, and when she was starting to get cold, I brought her inside to warm up. When we sat down on a single chair, a woman offered to move off of a couch so we would have more room. After we warmed up, I called my husband to bring in the diaper bag so I could make her a bottle. My mother-in-law brought the bag inside, and when I went to make the bottle, the water had spilled out. There wasn't enough to mix the formula. Neither I or my mother-in-law had our wallets, so we went back outside to get my father-in-law or husband, but they had just went down the hill. My daughter started crying, and this woman immediately gets up and brings back a water bottle. Then she asks how she could help, if she could make the bottle or hold the baby if I was comfortable. So I let her hold my daughter while I made the bottle. By the time my mother-in-law came back in, my daughter was already calmed and drinking her bottle. It was just so very nice of that woman to help me out. Honestly, everyone has been so nice to me since getting pregnant and having my daughter. People say it takes a village, and it's always nice to find even random people looking out and trying to take care of others.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
This is sort of related, but like not to this extent, but like I am a nanny, so I do walk around the city with young children a lot. And I will say, like, people are always so kind, like when you get on the train, to offer you and the kid a seat. That's something I see consistently. And sometimes we'll take it. Sometimes we're like, no, it's okay. We're just going like one stop. But like, I always find that nice. And I can imagine what mothers feel all the time with getting help from people.
I found another one. This is titled, "My Autistic Child's First Flight Went Poorly. What happened afterwards shocked me." We took our first flight with my 6-year-old who has level 3 autism and severe sensory processing disorder. The flight was from St. Louis to Newark, New Jersey, so it was nearly 3 hours. I prepared in every way possible, scared to death she was going to have a meltdown midair. I brought the iPad, speech generating device, earplugs, compression vest, weighted blanket, sensory toys. None of it mattered about 2/3 of the way through the flight when my daughter decided she wanted to go home. For nearly an hour, she screamed her little lungs out. She has a scream that is hard for even me, her mother, to endure. She kicked and flailed. I had to pull her onto my lap, wrap my arms around her and my legs around hers. Occasionally, she'd wrench free and hit me. I closed my eyes and tried to shut my mind to the fact that my lowest parenting moment was happening in front of 100 strangers who were all trapped having to witness it. When we finally landed, I burst into tears walking down the aisle. This was back in April. As overwhelming as the flight was, I'm still more overwhelmed by what happened afterwards. A man who had been seated by us carried our luggage for us. A woman, also traveling with a young child, spoke to me with such warmth and kindness. It was clear she meant it. She told me that I was a good mom and did everything I could to try to calm my daughter. She said people understand autism more now, and the people on the flight knew she couldn't help it. Her boy wanted to get going, and she said, "We will in a minute. Right now we're helping." Another passenger started telling my daughter in ASL that she was beautiful. She said she worked with kids who were nonverbal and that everything was going to be okay. Yet another passenger, a doctor, asked if we needed help. A literal crowd of the same people we tortured for an hour, who probably couldn't wait to get out of that airport, took the time to make sure we were okay. Then she said, "Sorry this turned out so long. I wish I could tell those people that they made me less fearful of the future, less afraid of my daughter being rejected by a world who doesn't understand her."
I like that.
I like that too. I like that she added everything at the end saying how there's kindness in the world.
I like how, like, she was probably thinking that whole plane ride, oh my God, everyone probably hates me right now. And she probably had this view or idea of what everyone was thinking of her and feeling towards her. And then to come off the plane and like
Everyone
get an
being
opposite
sweet.
response, that is like so impactful.
I always think of that when kids are crying on the plane. I'm like,
Yeah, I do
I feel
too.
bad for their parents.
Yeah, because they can't help it and they're doing their best.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that one.
Me too. I think I have like one more.
Okay.
Let me read one more and then we'll talk about ours. 9 months ago, titled, "My Mom Was So Much Kinder Than I Knew." And that says a lot. When I was a kid, I went to a very expensive private school. Most of the families were very wealthy, but some were barely scraping by to afford the tuition, and some were on scholarships and families that could barely afford rent. My family was one of the fairly well-off ones. The school also had field trips, some of which were $5 to $10, but some were $50 to $100 per kid, none covered by scholarships. An old teacher of mine heard my mom passed away 4 years ago. She called me today. She just found my number through other people. She told me about how my mom would show up in the office on field trip days for mine and my sister's classes. She'd ask for the teacher, and then she'd ask how many kids were staying behind because they couldn't pay. Then she'd cover their fees. She'd also have the teachers call her if a parent couldn't afford school supplies or a required book, and she'd buy it and have the teacher give it to them privately. If a birthday was coming up and the parents hadn't said they were sending a cake, in parentheses, school required 2 or more days' notice, she had the teacher email her the night before. We lived in a building that had a grocery store with a good bakery, so she'd pick up cupcakes for the kid in the morning and drop them off at school. She'd always told me the parents ordered them and asked her to pick them up. I know that's along the lines of giving out money, but it wasn't about the money for her. She told the teachers it was so no kid would feel left out, because she was always the financially excluded child growing up and knew how it could negatively impact their education.
That's really sweet.
You've said that after every single one.
Dude, I know. I'm sorry, guys.
That's sweet.
But it's true. They are
It
all
is sweet.
I feel like I sound like I'm like being fake or lying, but I'm not. They're sweet.
Yeah. This one's really like special because I feel like to find this out about your parent like after they're already gone and to have gone that long without even knowing that she used to do things like that just goes to show that she wasn't doing it for any praise, you know, like it was truly just out of the kindness of her heart. And yeah,
That's sweet.
okay. Anyway, we're going to share a few of our experiences of just random acts of kindness that we've received from strangers. I was just brainstorming, and I will start with just a few weeks ago. I was on the subway and it was during like rush hour, so a very busy time. And I was on a train that I don't usually take, going to visit a friend's apartment after work. So I wasn't like super familiar with the area, but you know, I was sitting and minding my business. I mean, I'm familiar with the area, but not like the stops. You know, it wasn't my usual route. I was sitting minding my own business in a packed train, and this man comes up to me, and I have my headphones on and everything, and he just starts like talking to me, and I like take my headphones off, and I'm like, I wasn't threatened by him, but it was clear he was shooting his shot, making his move. Whatever, putting me in a weird position, and the train is quiet, and everyone around us can like hear a conversation, and he's just like drilling me with these questions, like weird things like, do you like to have philosophical conversation? Just things. It didn't seem very genuine. And again, I wasn't threatened, but I was more like annoyed. And I think to onlookers, it could have looked really weird because he just wouldn't leave me alone. And when you're in those situations, you just don't really know what to do. Like, am I supposed to say, like, hey, I really don't want to talk to you right now? You know? But so he's just going on and on and on. And this woman comes up and she like gets in front of him and says to me, hey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm not, like, I'm okay. And she was like, okay, because if you're not, please let me know.
I love that.
And I was
Women
like,
looking
thank
out for
you.
women.
Yes. And just, you know, like for her to get up, she was sitting down, come over to me and say that in front of him, you know? And this man was still not getting the memo. And then the train like skipped my stop. It went express. I was all turned around and I just like got off. Another man kind of like followed me off and he was like, hey, are you okay? Like, do you want to go on to the next train car? Like, that's how like weird the situation was two separate people had to come up to me and be like, hey, are you okay? Because it looked weird, even though I was like, this man's harmless. He's just has no social awareness. So long story short, two people checked in with me, strangers. There's a time and a place, people, to approach women. I don't know if on the train is the place, especially when you're just, you know, minding your own business, trying to get from point A to point B. But those people, I'll remember that because
they cared.
It's like people will look out for you, hopefully.
Sometimes strangers will help.
Yeah.
I have one that was kind of fun. So I was doing, y'all know I'm a tour guide. And so I was leading a private tour once of all of these middle-aged ladies who were all friends. And we were really getting along during the tour and having fun. And after the tour ended, they invited me to get a drink with them. So we all went. I got a drink with these people that I had just given a tour to. They paid for my drink, of course. And then they all proceeded to give me a bunch of marriage and dating advice, which was just like, I don't know if this counts as a random. I mean, I guess it does count because they literally bought me a drink and then they were giving me advice and just telling me stories and whatnot. And it was just a really fun, cute, unexpected time. And it was really silly. They were low-key talking to me about sex too, which made me kind of like, like I was just your tour guide. But it was really cute and sweet. And they bought me a drink. So that was very nice.
When was this?
This was like, when was this? Let me see.
Remember.
I literally have the
you
date.
telling me this at all.
This was July 16th, 2024.
That was right after our Europe trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so another one of mine was last Christmas Eve. I went out to dinner with my parents and my grandma and my sister. And before dinner, the restaurant was like really backed up. Something weird was happening. Like our reservation was at a certain time and we didn't get seated till like hours later, I feel like something. So we were sitting at the bar, like waiting for our table and, you know, having a drink. And we sit next to this middle-aged man and middle-aged woman. And my first thought is like, they're together. But we start talking to them, like they start talking to us and making conversation, and turns out they were on a first date, which was kind of funny, but also made me like a little sad because I was like, it's Christmas Eve, you know, and it must mean that they may not have a better place to spend it, you know, with family. I could just tell by the way he was talking to us that like he kept saying like, you have such a beautiful family, like. And we were just making conversation, whatever. And it just seemed like he might have been a little lonely on Christmas. He left and, you know, we were talking for a while and he left and he covered our bill, which was very sweet and unexpected.
That's so nice.
It was very nice.
I love when people do that.
I know. Paying it forward.
Paying it forward.
Like the trend that was happening for a while of like paying for the person's behind you in the drive-thru.
Yeah.
And then like hoping that person continues to, you know.
Oh, yeah. I feel like my responses are so bad today. I'm just like, oh, you're sweet. Oh, yeah. But yeah. I mean, like, yeah, that is really sweet. Okay, let me see if I have another one, which I'm sure I do. Ironically, in 8th grade, I wrote a whole... Okay, so I went to a private Christian school for elementary and middle school. And in 8th grade, we all had to give a sermon, like literally a whole church service essentially, and I wrote an entire sermon on random acts of kindness, which stemmed from this time when I was in 8th grade. I was at the beach with a few of my friends, and we took like a mile-long walk to Pelican's Perch, which was, I believe that was the name of an Italian ice place. And I didn't have any money with me when we went. And little 8th grade me was literally looking on the ground for loose change. And then a lady saw me doing that. And then she was just like, I'm going to buy your Italian ice. Looking back, I think it felt like a very big gesture at the time, and it still wasn't. It was very nice, but now it's funny because I imagine myself in 8th grade and that happening, and it's like, yeah, well, if an adult sees a kid looking around for money on the ground, chances are they'll pay for your Italian ice. But I literally wrote an entire sermon based around that happening and just how random acts of kindness can make someone's day. And that really did. I really just wanted Italian ice with my friends. They were all eating it, and I was like, fuck, why didn't I bring money? So yeah, some random lady paid for my Italian ice in 8th grade, and that was really awesome. And I was so happy about it, and it inspired an entire sermon.
If I, as an adult, look for money on the ground outside of any establishment, will it work?
Maybe. Maybe. Should we try?
Maybe. I'm just kidding. Anyway, that's cute. Another random act of kindness that involves you is when we've told the story on the podcast before, when Noelle's car broke down on the highway.
Oh my God.
And we were standing in the pouring rain for what felt like hours. No one was really stopping to help us until one woman did. Like one woman on the highway in the pouring rain literally like pulled her car over to the shoulder and got out and was like, "Are you girls okay? Like, how can I help you?" Like, I was just thinking of my 2 daughters, seeing you girls standing outside, and I would not want them to be like alone and not knowing what to do. So, I mean, that was so nice.
That was very nice.
Like, she did not have to do that, but she saw us and pulled over to make sure that we were okay.
Oh, I love that. No, that was like very needed too, because we were in the pouring rain.
And I was also wondering why no one was stopping.
That was
like,
weird.
In moments like that, when you'd feel kind of like you don't know what to do and you're clearly need help, you just kind of hope that someone's gonna help you, you know? And
took a little too long.
Took a long time. And we were doing what we could. Like, we called 911 and shit too. And
then 911 never
why
came.
is no one helping? Another train story. I was on the subway once and I was getting off the train, and I guess I had dropped my jacket, and a woman literally ran out of the train to hand me my jacket.
Aww.
And I was like, thank you. Thank God. Like, I like this jacket. Like, thank you so much. Like, you didn't have to do that, you know?
Yeah, thank God.
Random
because
acts.
she did not have to get out of the train to give you that. She could have kept on going.
And then I think she got back on the train in time. Like, she ran after me, like darted, to give me my jacket.
Oh, well, which jacket is it?
It's like a black corduroy.
I know
light
the one.
jacket. You do?
Mm-hmm. It's here, right? Did you give it away? Do you still have it?
I still have it. It's literally just, it's like black. It's not oversized. It's like pretty, it's not fitted, but it's not oversized. It's
I know the one.
It's like a relaxed fit.
I know the one.
Corduroy, silver buttons. It's a nice like staple fall, like early fall spring jacket. Well, it's very light.
And you still have it because that lady gave it back to you. Yay! One thing that I'm able to do personally is give people food on my food tours. Not like the guests who are paying for the tour. That's obvious. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like, this is what I do to be nice. There's this one homeless man who I actually haven't seen him in a while, but he used to sit in the same spot in Chinatown. Okay, so on my food tours, we go through Chinatown, and there's this one spot where the same homeless man would be sitting most of the time. Haven't seen him in a while. But a lot of the times, people on the food tours don't want the water bottles I give them at the beginning. So I like buy a bunch of water bottles. We start the tour with dumplings and water. And there's normally at least one person on the tour who's like, I'm good. I don't want water. And then I end up having to carry their water. One day I just had the idea. I was like, why don't I just start giving homeless people the leftover food and water that I have from the food tours? So I actually do that a lot. I am a big believer in not wasting food too, if you don't have to. And especially these water bottles that like, I'm not going to just throw them away. So I started giving them to the same homeless man every time I'd walk past him. And he was really nice. And I'd give him dumplings as well. So I think that's also something nice to do. Like if you have leftovers after a restaurant that you feel like you might not eat, or I don't know, just extra food for some reason, people are hungry. So that's something I like to do. I do it after my tours pretty often, actually. When I have extra food, I'll just there's homeless people everywhere who might not have access to yummy foods. So, and I do as a tour guide. So that's one thing that I do personally, which maybe not everyone would have the opportunity to do. But yeah, that's something I like to do on my food tours with my job.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so cool because you just like have that to give out.
Also, if you're struggling financially and you're not really in a place when you can buy people food or give them money, even just a compliment goes a long way. Complimenting other people, saying, "Hi, how are you?" Giving someone a smile even can really make their day. I am a big believer in always talking to people who approach you, for the most part, unless it's somebody being scary on the subway and saying mean things. I had a man on the subway come up to me and tell me, "Bitch, I'm going to cut your head off." So that's an instance when I was not interested in being nice or chit-chatting with him. However, like if someone is walking past you on the subway or you see someone sitting on the ground asking for money, I normally try to respond. They're humans too. I think that there's this stigma around people who are, there's a stigma around people who are asking for money, that they are lesser than, I suppose. But they're literally humans. They are no less human than people who have money and a roof over their head. And I just hate when people don't respond to them. So I always, even if I don't have extra cash that day to give, or if I'm in a hurry, if someone's like, "Do you have any change?" Just being like, "No, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash today." Literally just speaking to them, because I think that
they get ignored a lot.
They do, and it's dehumanizing. It's like if somebody wearing a nice outfit who looks like they were, had money or whatever, came up to you and said like, "Hey, like, I'm so sorry. Do you have $1 I could have?" Like, and you still didn't, you would probably respond to them. But I get that sometimes you don't want to talk to strangers. New York City can be a scary place. You don't know who to trust, who you can talk to. But I do think for the most part, it's important to treat people like people. Like if somebody comes up to you and asks you for a favor, you don't necessarily even have to do the favor, but at least like acknowledging that they're a human, not looking away. I remember even being taught when I was younger, like not even necessarily by like my parents, but just like, I don't know, whatever adults in my life, like, you're taught not to talk to strangers, but then I feel like you're also taught to like not acknowledge people who are like sitting on the street asking for money. Like you're taught to just ignore and walk past. And then I got a little older and then I learned that that was wrong. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I'm sure if I were in a position where I was on the street asking for money, I would feel terrible if people just ignored me all the time. Like it's nice to just say something, even if you're not able to help, just, treating them like a human.
For sure. Also, you said something about giving a compliment, which reminded me of someone along the line in my life said something once that really stuck with me. Now, I try to live by it because I think that sometimes we forget how much people could use just a kind word, a compliment, or how, something that to us is something we notice about them just seems like small in a passing moment, but to them, like hearing it and taking it in could mean a lot. But someone said to me once, never let like a good thought about someone go unheard by them. Because I feel like you'll think things all the time like, oh wow, I love her nails, or like
Yeah.
I love her earrings, or like I love her smile, or anything, like, oh, I love the way she like
All her
talks to
and
people.
she.
That's what's in my head. Like, girls supporting women. Or like I love the way that she interacts with people. I love how kind she is. I love her intelligence. If you have a thought pop into your head about someone, because pay attention to that voice, because you will
Yeah.
start noticing all the beautiful, wonderful things you're thinking about other people. And instead of just thinking it, let them know.
Yeah.
And I try to do that as much as possible in situations where it makes sense.
Wait, one thing we both did recently. Duh.
Mhm.
Okay, so Sarah, who we've mentioned on the podcast a lot, she's been one of my best friends since I was younger. She moved to the city. So therefore, Pete and Sarah are now friends as well. Sarah hosted a gathering about a week ago. It was a Saturday morning, so wholesome. And she made a homemade quiche, coffee cake, and a simple salad. But the purpose of the gathering was so we could make Christmas cards for those in need of a little more holiday spirit. So I guess there's an organization where people can literally either sign themselves up or sign someone that they know and love up to receive Christmas cards from strangers. And they say the name of the person, the age of the person, and what they're going through. So a lot of the people on the list were struggling with health, struggling with loss or grief, just all these different things. So we all got together and we wrote all these Christmas cards to send out to just people all over the country in need. And one, I love that Sarah had the idea to host that and do that. It was so kind, but it also it was so fun and felt nice for us all to get together and do something, wholesome and do something that'll help people out and make them feel a little happier in the holidays.
Yeah. And I think it was also eye-opening, just like looking at a spreadsheet of all of these people and then what they're going through and why they maybe signed themselves up to like receive a little extra love during this season. Because I think, the holidays, as much as they are supposed to be about joy and love and cheer and happiness, like if you're blessed enough to be able to like feel those things during the holidays, like consider yourself blessed. But there are so many people who really, really struggle around the holidays for so many various reasons. And I do think it was just eye-opening to see that, there are people struggling, and the holidays really amplify all of those things, whether you're dealing with grief or loss or like a health issue, or you don't have many family members to celebrate with. It can be a really, really hard time. And I think that's why this episode, we kind of wanted to acknowledge that and also do what we could to like spread a little bit of hope and like and joy, and hopefully inspire people to also just want to remember that like if you just stop for a moment and like be a little bit more present, you can really make someone's day.
Yeah.
And you never know what people are going through, and just like stay open to like people around you. Because it can feel so lonely sometimes, and people are going through shit.
People are going through shit. You really have no idea what people are going through. So it's important to stay kind.
It really is.
To others. You just really never know. Should we go ahead and read a couple of our listener write-ins as well? We had a couple of listener write-ins too. We asked you all, the listeners, if you had any random acts of kindness you have either received or done. So let me go find that. So shall we take turns reading them?
Sure.
Okay. Number 1.
Someone said, this was in North Carolina. I went to the Panera in Burlington to grab lunch. When I got to the window to pay, the lady told me my meal was for free because of how kind and polite I was over the intercom while I was ordering. We'll never forget how happy that made me feel.
That's so sweet.
I love that one too, because it's like, it's random, but it's also like, if you are just kind to others, like that will come back to you in some way as well.
It will. That's really
Karma.
sweet. This one, somebody said, bringing homeless people hot tea during the winter in New York City. That's another nice act of kindness that you can easily perform. Well, I guess if you have tea.
The next one is a church organization paid for my dad's wheelchair accessible van, $15,000 donation to my family.
Very amazing.
So impactful.
Yeah. A buddy of mine was assigned a double shift Christmas Day. I took one of his shifts that day.
Slay.
Very, very slay.
Someone said, my boyfriend and I had a terrible experience at a new restaurant. A woman sitting next to us was overserved and openly rude to us for no reason. We went to leave and go somewhere else, but the chef/owner saw what happened and took us to a private speakeasy and gave us a 5-course meal with several rounds of drinks for free. Most insane, crazy, fun date night ever.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Actually, I just thought of another random act of kindness that someone, oh, my parents are going to hate this one at first. But so I solo traveled to Costa Rica this past summer. So I, of course, you know, little old me trying to save a buck or two. Instead of booking the safe option, a van, which I could have booked for like $60 maybe, I chose the $2 option where I took a bus for like 9 hours. I had to switch buses all over Costa Rica. I took like 3 different buses to get from one city to another. And I will say it was I did feel a little unsafe during this time. The bus was, there were just a lot of interesting people on there. At one point, I was just looking through pictures on my phone, and then I hear someone in my ear go, "Beautiful photos." And I turn around, and a man is literally like looking over my shoulder at my phone.
Dude.
Anyways, there was this one Austrian lady with her niece, and they like checked in on me. Like she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes." And we actually ended up like kind of going on the same route for a little bit of it together. So we switched buses. They were like, you can stick with us for part of the journey. And I was like, okay. So I literally sat with them and heard all of their stories. And then at one point, at another bus stop, I had to use the bathroom. And she was like, "Let me watch your backpack so you don't have to carry it to the bathroom." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And I just really trusted them so much. I was like, I'm leaving all my belongings with these people. And I did. And they're fine. And I still have everything. So all is well. But it was just really nice. It was these 2 women, and during a day when I felt very unsafe, they just helped me to feel a little better, and I felt very protected by them. So that was another one. I feel like I experience a lot of acts of kindness when I'm traveling, honestly. Like people are just so nice. And a lot of the places, like when I went to Thailand, people were so nice, just so sweet. Like
when we were in Italy and we got on the wrong train and those people were helping us.
Yeah.
Even though we barely spoke each other's languages, like they were like, "Oh no, you're on the wrong train. Like you have to do this, that." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
People are very quick to help, especially when they can tell you're traveling.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about all the nice people I've met while traveling. Like I feel like I've experienced a lot of random acts of kindness. I don't know. I feel like when you're traveling somewhere, if you're in a group with other travelers too, they get it sometimes. They want to help and make sure you're safe for the most part, depending on who you are. But yeah, that was another time I experienced a random act of kindness. These ladies took me in. Be kind.
The take home is be kind, and we can all afford to spread a little more love around. And yeah,
Life is hard.
Life is hard. You never know what impact you're going to have and how that'll stick with people.
For realsies. I feel like I remember, like, anytime anyone compliments me, I feel like I remember it forever.
Yeah, I mean, all of these stories are just like an example of how things stick with people.
Yeah.
All these people that we read the stories, that were listener write-ins, and our stories, like, we all remember these things.
Yeah.
Do you have, what do you feel like is the best compliment you've ever received?
I know the best compliment, and I'm going to sound obnoxious saying it because it's like I'm sharing a compliment. In sophomore year of college, I performed in a master class with Beth Level, Tony Award winning actress. And I sang "Come Out of the Dumpster," and she was like, "No notes. That was awesome. What else do you have to sing?" And then I was like, okay. So then I sang "Mr. Snow." And I remember I actually still think about this when I'm struggling in like with auditions and stuff. And I wrote her a letter like 2 years later thanking her and was like, hey, you told me this one compliment once and it stuck with me. She has no idea who I am. She was I wrote it to the Broadway show she was in. Anyways, but after I sang Mr. Snow, she was like, there is something about you that just can't be taught, but you have it. And like, you're going to be just fine in this career. Like, you have that thing that like some performers just have and some don't. And I don't know how to teach it, but you have it and you're going to be fine in this career.
So comforting to
hear. It was very comforting. And I still think about that. I think a lot of the compliments that have stuck with me are from mentors and teachers, like people who have just been like, I've had another teacher a couple years ago be like, please don't give up just because this career is so hard.
It's hard. You need to hear those things sometimes. Yeah,
you really do. And just someone being like, you are really good. Like, just keep going. Like, just don't stop. And just things like that really, of course, I love when people like low-key like tell me I'm pretty and stuff too. But like, I think the ones about my art really stick with me because I think that's what I just really care about it. So yeah. What about you? Do you have a compliment that stuck with you?
Yeah, I feel like there are probably a few, but there is one that really stuck with me that I was like,
I'm intrigued.
Damn, like that might have been the best compliment I've ever gotten. And it was just unique. And it was from a friend of mine who told me that they don't think anyone could ever feel held back in my presence.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like in your presence, like you could never hold anyone back from becoming like who they want to be. And I was like, that is so nice.
That is very true too, because you're so like, I mean, I'm your bestie. So of course I know about your insecurities that you have because we all have insecurities we need to work through, but you are very pretty like at least self-assured. Like even with your insecurities, you recognize like, this is an insecurity I have. It's not like factual. Like if I feel like I look bad one day, it's just like, I'm feeling this way and I need to work on my inner self. It's not like, you know, like you don't seek outer validation, even though outer validation feels good.
I try. Love it. It's like, that's something I'm specifically working on too. It's just like realizing that insecurities, that's what they are. There's something you're insecure about. It actually isn't anything solid in the real world. Because someone could look at your insecurity and think it's beautiful. Yeah. Someone could not even notice your insecurity. Chances are that they don't, because we all hyperfixate on ourselves way more than anyone else. You know, hyperfixates on us. And everyone's kind of thinking about themselves. Like no one's thinking about you as much. No one cares what you do. No one, you know, there have been so many times when someone's told me they're insecure about something and I'm like, I've literally never noticed that about you. You know?
So interesting.
It is.
I've also had a few people, like strangers in my life, tell me I have pretty eyes. And that actually makes me feel really great. I mean, this is my own inner doubt, but like, for those of you who don't know, I have a prosthetic eye. But like if friends tell me that, it's like, okay, well, like, you know my whole life story, you know everything that goes into it. Like, are you just saying, like, I don't know. I know my friends think that I'm beautiful, but like when a stranger's just like, whoa, you have really pretty eyes. I'm like, they mean that. They're not asking what's wrong with my eye. They're not noticing. They just like think that they're pretty, maybe because they're a little different. Like I've had multiple strangers tell me that, like be like, you have beautiful eyes. And I'm like, wait, low-key, like, you think they're pretty? Because I've always been so insecure. So that's always a nice compliment for me to get to.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going to listen to this podcast and be like, Noelle, you have such beautiful eyes.
Well, you do.
Well, thanks.
Well, y'all, I guess that was all the take home, right?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And happy New Year.
While the merry bells keep ringing, happy holidays to you. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. It's the holiday season.
The holiday season.
And Santa Claus has got a toy for every good girl and good little boy. Santa's a great big bundle of joy. Well, he's coming down the chimney now. Well, he's coming down the chimney now. He's got a big fat sack upon his back. Yeah! And lots of presents for you and for me. So leave a peppermint stick for old Saint Nick. Hang it on the Christmas tree. Have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays, you guys. We love you. Please follow us at Take It Home Pod on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the places, and subscribe and follow us.
And leave us a 5-star review.
Leave us a 5-star review, and we come out with a new episode every Thursday. Next episode is a very special one for New Year's Day.
With a fun special guest.
With a fun special
you
guest.
might know her
You
from
might
TikTok
actually know.
or Instagram.
Stay tuned. We love you. Goodbye. Spread love and kindness.
Yes.